All right. Tribunal is a Vancouver, British Columbia based gothic doom metal band, and one that I would call a gothic death doom metal band, even though there are some pronounced blackened vocal registers used in some of these pieces. This is their debut. It's kind of a just out of the blue kind of thing that sort of showed up at the end of last year, and it's out today. And it's so you're going to want to approach this album aesthetically, and you're going to feel like this is a one of those romanticist early 90s death doom metal records that it's got the Beauty and the Beast singing and all that, and that isn't what this is. It's got a lot more in common with, like I say here, like I bring up Candlemass quite a lot here, and I think Occultation is a really good point of reference, even though the rhythms are quite different. The important thing is that this is rooted in traditional doom metal quite a bit more. Uh, the Gothic part of it is important um, as far as providing some personality, some charisma, and sort of giving everything a direction to go in. And a lot of the classic Death Doom and Gothic Death Doom traits are here, but you don't get the jank of that era that a lot of people forget existed. So the learning curve is different here, and it has less to do with a lot of that classic feeling and more to do with occult rock and occult heavy metal influenced doom metal. It's a really nice balance, and it's a juxtaposition that's not obvious right away, but as you kind of familiarize with the different vocal performances and see how they play off each other, and sort of get an idea of the actual structures of the song. This is probably going to be more for the traditional doom metal fan, or the not so much that if you're go in expecting 90s melodrama and the progressivity of the late 90s, or the sort of rock swing of the early 90s in gothic death doom metal, you don't really get either of those that much here. You get more of a traditional doom metal and almost a heavy rock feeling to some of these songs. The gothic affect is important here, but it's much more aesthetic. And this is going to be, like I said, this is going to be more for like an occultation fan or something like that who wants something different, but along kind of feels along those lines. There is a lot more to it. The For a debut, this is beautifully written. I think it's very well made in general. The production is very fine. I think they did the one of the vocalists even painted the cover, which is pretty. It's kind of got a mood to it. So for a debut, it's all very impressive. I think where they could go with it, I don't really know. I'm kind of interested to see where they would take it. Because they could really play into people's expectations and the way they reacted to it, or they could double down on kind of the strong personality that is here. Now, if you've seen the music video and you only know the one single, then you know like that big personality, the wine spilling and the cello playing and all that. That's the best part of the album, and it comes at the end, and it feels like they've delivered on beyond their influences on that song. So it'd be interesting if they went in that direction. But that isn't what the whole album sounds like necessarily. So kind of gauge your expectations there and approach this one with an open mind. Like, I'm not really big on gothic anything, but this is pretty good. It's pretty listenable overall, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. So yeah, it's a high recommendation. It is one of the better records out in January, and I definitely recommend it. So see if that's your kind of doom metal.